Did you know that you're not actually supposed to do some of the movements that you probably have learned about throughout pregnancy or even for birth? You're not supposed to do those all at the same time. I actually didn't know that until my second pregnancy. I was doing all these movements in my first pregnancy and then from my first labor that were good because they looked good, but they weren't really effective because I wasn't doing them at the right times. So, not sure if that contributed to why my birth ended the way it did in the first pregnancy or that it took a long time for me to progress. However, now that I know these things, I'm going to share them with you because I don't want you to go through the same thing that I did. I want your labor to be effective, efficient, and purposeful because every single movement that you do is purposeful. So in this video, I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can open up the specific part of your pelvis called the inlet at the beginning of labor, early labor, active labor, before baby's engaged in the pelvis, and how to know when that is so that you know exactly how to labor effectively while you are going through labor so that it doesn't take so long. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Chanel. I am a working mama. Make sure to follow me on Instagram for daily tips and education for pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. My purpose is to educate you with the tools and the information to help you have a fearless and empowered natural birth. The more that you know, the more education you have, the better you can advocate and make informed decisions for the birth that you deserve and desire. It is my pleasure to have you here. I'm so excited that you are part of this family now and that you are going to learn so much more to make you prepared for your birth. So let's get right into it. There are 3 different parts of the pelvis that we typically talk about: the inlet, the mid-pelvis, and the outlet. In this video, we're gonna talk about the inlet, which is the top of the pelvis right up here, okay? This is where baby is going to first engage, AKA this is where baby is gonna first drop their head or descend into your pelvis. This is where they go first. So we have to make the inlet of the pelvis wide, but there are certain positions that do that, and there are certain positions that open up the outlet, which is the bottom. But there wouldn't be any point for us to open the bottom of our pelvis before we've opened the top of our pelvis, because if we open the bottom, the top closes. If we open the top, the bottom closes. So we have to know when we're doing these things, they're very intentional with where baby is at in our bodies. So if you haven't learned about stations of baby, make sure you look that up. Or you can take my course. I have a full childbirth education course where I talk about all of the things that you need to know from the start of your pregnancy until you're in the postpartum and breastfeeding, so that you know exactly what to ask for in labor, how to advocate for yourself, knowing all of your options and rights, and making sure that you are really prepared to have this fearless and empowered birth. So that's below if you want to check that out, register for it. I do live sessions with y'all, so you'll have a self-paced course, go through it with you and your partner, and then ask me any questions that you have. Now, back to the actual lesson here. The inlet is when baby is floating or is at a negative station. So if you decide to get vaginal exams, which you don't have to do, by the way, it's important for you to ask the station of baby more so than where you are dilated to, because based on the station of the baby is going to be what you need to be doing with your pelvis. Are you opening up the inlet? Are you opening up the outlet? It's going to make a difference, so you need to know. With that being said, we are trying to open up the inlet, that top of the pelvis, when baby's at a negative station or even getting closer to a 0 station 1 or a +1. So when we are in early labor, this is typically in early labor or even at the beginning of active labor, this is where we want to focus our time and our attention, our energy to opening up the inlet of the pelvis. So how do we do that? We typically do that when our knees are wide, when we're in certain positions, when we're squatting, when we're moving around, when we are helping our pelvis kind of to shift back and forth. That's going to help our pelvis move from left to right, open really wide to help encourage baby to descend into the pelvis so that baby can engage. This is when you're going to start to see dilation progress. This is also when you're going to start to hear or see that baby's going to go from a negative station coming closer to a positive station. That is what we want. We want to get to a positive station so that we can begin to push when our bodies tell us to push. So how do we actually open up the inlet of the pelvis? Well, this is when a deep squat is really helpful. You can do this during pregnancy to help prepare your body and help prepare your pelvis and open up your pelvis. But if I'm in a deep squat like this is actually because my knees are wider than my ankles. This is going to close or make my outlet of my pelvis more narrow, and the inlet, which is up here, it's going to make it wide. So being in a position like this or even rocking back and forth is going to really help open up the inlet of the pelvis. So this is a good position to be in while you're contracting early labor or even the beginning of active labor. This is also a great position to hold during your pregnancy. Towards late pregnancy, you can do it really whenever, but especially during late pregnancy. If you can work up to holding this for 5 minutes, working your way up to this is not going to be something that you start right away. It's okay if your heels don't touch the ground. This is also going to be really, really great to just opening up that inlet, the late pregnancy, to help baby engage while you're still pregnant. So that's one good position to hold while you are in early labor or while baby's at a negative station. Another way that you can help open up the inlet of your pelvis is to be sitting on the toilet. Sitting on the toilet while you are having contractions is super effective because it is going to keep your pelvic floor really relaxed because it's naturally relaxed on the toilet. And it's also in a seated position like this, where typically our knees are going to be outside of our ankles. So that's also a really good position to be in. It is going to be pretty intense while you're on the toilet because it is going to allow baby to make a lot of movement pretty easily and effectively because your pelvic floor is naturally released. If you want to learn more about what I call the dilation station, aka the toilet, click below. In the description, I have a whole video on why being on the toilet is one of the most effective places to have contractions. With that being said, the other way that you can help your body open up the inlet of your pelvis is to be in a side lying position. While you're in early labor, we just need to rest. So you don't have to really do a lot of movement in early labor, but if you have a peanut ball or some pillows, you can actually just put your knee or rest your knee or your top leg on top of pillows or a peanut ball. That's going to help open up the inlet of your pelvis. Or you can take your peanut ball or your pillows and you can actually just kind of put them in between your knees here and just lay in what is called a flying cowgirl. And if you just lay there just comfortably, it's going to open up the inlet of your pelvis. So those positions are helpful for resting if you're not moving around, which you don't have to be moving around too much during early labor, or even at the beginning of active labor. You kind of just read your body and do what your body says. But those are some good ways to open up the inlet of the pelvis. And once you're open in the inlet and baby engages, that's when we'll start to shift and do some other different movements so that we can start to begin to open up our mid pelvis and the outlet of our pelvis. If you want to learn more about how to open up the outlet of your pelvis and why you should not push on your back, click the link in the description below. I put a whole video together for y'all on why you should not push on your back and other different pushing positions that are going to help open up the outlet of your pelvis and make a lot of room for baby to move out. So I hope this video was helpful. This is something that people don't talk about enough or at all, really, because it's more of like a birth worker's mentality. But if you're not going to have a doula, and even if you're going to have a doula, you need to have this information for yourself too, because this is how you go into birth informed and empowered because you know exactly what's going on with your body. So if you found this video helpful, please hit the thumbs up button so I know what you like, know what you don't like. If there are other video topics you want me to cover, make sure you comment below so that I know and I can make them for you. And remember, make sure you follow me on Instagram where I will share daily tips and tricks and also go live every single Tuesday with another free mini class about a different topic in pregnancy or birth or postpartum. Make sure that you follow me so you can get all that information and continue to educate yourself to have a fearless and empowered natural birth. I will see y'all in the next video. Love you. Mwah.